Next here on the Enviro show, another woman also concerned with the state of the world, but in a rather different way. She's Tracy Lee Dorney, and she's chair of the Electromagnetic Radiation Research Foundation of South Africa. Well, on April the 21st, they celebrated the first ever Electromagnetic Radiation Action Day, raising concerns about the levels that we're confronted by. So what's it all about?
Well, the concept was put together by a group of, independent scientists, lawyers, business people from all around the world who decided it was critical that aligning with Earth Day, the same weekend as Earth Day, that we create the awareness that so many people don't know about of the impacts to the environment and our health from electromagnetic radiation. And people might not know what that is either, but this is where, you'd get it off cell phone towers, from everything transmitting off there, GSM, 3G, LTE or 4G, WiMAX transmitters, cordless phones in the home, smart meters and Wi-Fi.
Already we're beginning to feel a little bit uncomfortable and a bit anxious being surrounded as we are with technology. So what are you saying, that all these things are pumping out electromagnetic radiation?
Yes, they absolutely are, and we are surrounded by it. And obviously, we started off with electricity and power lines and went on to radio and TV. And now we are magnifying all of this over and over again with more and more frequencies, and not just from one service provider, but from many service providers. And people and our environment are being exposed, and we know from studies that we are at risk from this exposure.
We are at risk, as in human beings and presumably animals, living organisms, living beings. But the environment itself, is it at risk? And if so, how?
It is absolutely at risk. One of the big concerns, well, in South Africa, we have noticed, I think anybody could notice, actually, if they had to drive around and look at trees around cell masts. That's probably the easiest visual that anybody could look for in South Africa, is just go and drive, look at your local cell mast, and have a look at what are happening to the trees near those masts. They are dying. And as the technology gets stronger, the distance increases with the trees dying. Also, we need to be concerned about worldwide, as this technology is increased, there's been disappearing bees and birds. And obviously, you've got birds and bees and fish that rely on the Earth's natural magnetic fields for guidance, for navigational purposes. And these man-made electromagnetic fields are interfering with that. And the colony collapse disorder in bees has been alluded to in many scientific studies that they are being affected by the rollout of all this technology, and bird species too. In fact, they've noted how the sparrows have disappeared in England and Western European countries. And an investigation that was carried out in Spain was done to examine whether the decline in the sparrow population was related to electromagnetic radiation. And the study certainly showed a high degree of statistical confidence that the number of sparrows was reduced with the rollout of all these fields.
Are we absolutely sure about that? We spoke just about the colony collapse disorder amongst bees just a little while ago on the show, and it was thought to be as a result of, I think it was neurotoxins, but certainly some sort of crop spray. Can we put all the blame on electromagnetic radiation?
No, certainly not. You can be looking at crop spray, but they have noted where there hasn't been crop spraying, but there has been a rollout of technology that the bees are not returning to their hives. They're losing their way. They're not coming back.
Yeah.
That has been noticed with concern that there has been very strange bee behavior over the last sort of several months in Johannesburg, with bees trying to hive in the strangest places, and that has been during some very high testing of LTE.
LTE?
Or 4G.
Okay,
4G.
Okay. The incidence then, I would imagine, would be a whole lot higher in urban areas than in rural areas. Have we got any proof around that?
No, we're working on some of these. We're actually working at the moment on a study. India's just launched a study. Again, they've done several studies on the impact of bees. They're actually very active in India at the moment, and the government has just supported a study where they're going to be looking at the impact on all flora and fauna in relation to this. They have noticed the disappearance in their more urban areas with all their transmissions. And in fact, India's just shut down 298 towers in one area, and Brazil in one city is busy shutting down 500 towers because of the damage. In Brazil, they did their health department did a study on the cancer clusters And because of the concern after that, they have started shutting down towers. So far, they've shut down 66, and their target is 500.
I'm afraid I don't know about the cancer clusters.
The cancer clusters, this has been noted by many doctors worldwide, scientists who have looked at cancers around Mars and have noted that there's an increase within a certain distance from Mars, especially in childhood leukemia. And we had a military scientist who came out, and he had recorded nearly 200 surveys of Mars with cancer clusters, and specifically of childhood leukemia clusters. There's a lot of work to be done, and we are certainly working at the moment trying to formulate a group now who will work on looking at birds and the environment in South Africa and seeing what impact it is having here.
Do you see that there could be a sort of potential, there probably already is a bit of a war between protecting the planet and technological advancement? We're not about to stop anytime soon.
No, there's certainly a rollout of the technology. I think what we need to do is look at safer options. That's what we look, a rollout of fiber optics into the home, schools and workplaces. So you limit the amount of, your electromagnetic fields. You have them rather coming into the home, not from a mast, but rather from optic fiber. So your broadband is taken directly into the home, directly into the school, and then limited to, obviously people love their technology, but we do need to make it safer if we're going to preserve our Earth.
Earlier you made reference to man-made electromagnetic radiation, as opposed to what?
Our Earth, we do have the, natural magnetic fields. The Earth has its own natural magnetic fields. Those have always been there. But when we say man-made, we're talking about the ones which we are generating from our TV, radio, masts, cell phones, towers, Wi-Fi, routers. All of those are all man-made.
And the natural ones have been in existence ever since, as from what I understand. So is there any conflict between the natural electromagnetic fields and what man is creating?
Well, there's interference.
Yeah.
There is interference, and that's what's affecting, what many studies are saying is affecting our nature and our health.
Our nature and our the way people are behaving, perhaps? Well,
the way people are behaving, there's certain, if we actually look at what's happened over the last 15 years, we've got things like ADD. I read a report by a specialist who said that they'd seen a 400% increase in ADD. And we've got all these neurological disorders on the increase, autism and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. And there's no explanation for this. The studies are showing a very strong connection between EMFs and this. And we have a lot of the studies listed on our website, which are a good reference tool for people to look at.
Electromagnetic Radiation Research Foundation of South Africa. Presumably you're part of a bigger global organisation?
We are. We have two wonderful affiliates. We have the EM Radiation Research Trust in the UK and the EMF Alliance, which is a worldwide alliance, which has thousands of doctors, scientists and professors that all share their incredible research with everybody. It's an incredible network, and we have some very strong scientific advisors that report specifically to our foundation here.
Are you seen as mainstream or fringy? What is the general attitude?
Well, I think it depends who you talk to.
Yes.
Possibly the telecoms industry would have a different report, but, like the tobacco industry did all those years ago on the line deny route that nothing was wrong and there's not enough research, enough study, we would probably be considered a little bit more activist. But if you look at the work and our research on the website, we don't want to take away technology, just want to have it made safer and also to give people the right to a health and safe environment. That's what's important. There are no levels that have been declared safe for children, not by the World Health Organization, not by ITNIP, and this is what is concerned. There isn't anybody who's put signature to paper to say this is a safe level for children.
Yeah. Well, which brings me on to the very big debate that the jury seems to be consistently out on, the cell phone debate. Is it or isn't it damaging our brains?
It is damaging. You just have to do your homework, and you really don't have to be a scientist to do that, but look at the studies. And when I say the studies, not the ones that have been funded by the industry, because they're often manipulated for a negative result on a short-term basis. all your long-term studies are showing impacts. Recent ones are showing not just impacts on the brain, but on hearing and on thyroid. There's been a recent paper which showed the impacts on thyroid from cell phone and from people living around a cell mass, that it affected their T2 and T3 thyroid hormones quite dramatically.
Well, Tracy Lee, I can't say it's been a pleasure because it's been a little bit unnerving, I have to say. But if anybody would like to find out a little bit more and check your website, it's
EMRRFSA.org.
EMRRFSA.org.
Yes, I think it's, people just need to use the technology safer. We need to teach our children it's not a toy. They mustn't be putting a cell phone against their head. Even your smart manual tells you don't put the phone against your head. 0.98, the BlackBerry manual. Keep it 0.98 inches away from your head. Do not put it against the abdomen of a pregnant woman or the lower abdomen of a child. So that's already in the smart manuals, but nobody's reading them.
Last thing, I think on the 5th of June, World Environment Day itself, you're going to be screening a movie called Full Signal.
We're going to be showing that in Cape Town, Durban, Johannesburg and Port Elizabeth at the moment. And we will be advertising those venues on our website because obviously World Environment Day, we feel that's critical also in raising this awareness.
Tracy Lee Dorney, she's chair of the Electromagnetic Radiation Research Foundation of South Africa. And incidentally, the screening of Full Signal, the movie, is going to happen on World Environment Day, June the 5th. And for more details, you can check their website. It's www.EMRRFSA.org. EMRRFSA.org.